Hello and welcome.
Hello.
The coverage of our Mythic Championship Invitational. I'm joined here by Matej Zatlkaj. It's great to have you in the booth.
It's honored to be here, Matthias.
It's always great to have you here. It's been a while.
It has been a while. Yes, I've done coverage here like 3 years ago or something, or 2 years
Yeah.
ago. Quite a long time ago. So I'm happy to be back, and it's just a short hop away from Bratislava, where I'm from. So it's no issue for me to be here.
That's awesome. What are we looking here today? What kind of tournament are we going to bring you?
So first of all, first things first. Okay, so this is a Mythic Championship qualifier. It means that there's going to be one winner, and this winner will be able to play in the Mythic Championship Barcelona, which takes place in July. So everyone's here to get that slot, because that means that you get to play with the big boys in Barcelona. Plus, you're guaranteed a decent payout, a minimum payout, so that the prizes are also quite relevant. And going to Barcelona in the summer, it's a nice perk to have.
Yeah, it's awesome. You already mentioned it. There's only going to be one winner today. We are actually, in fact, sold out. We have over 200 people participating, so
Wow.
we're bringing you 8 rounds of Swiss, and then top 8 as well, of course.
It's gonna be rough. I mean, 8 rounds of Magic is brutal. I mean, we have you need probably a 7-1 record just to be 100% sure that you're going to be in maybe 6-1-1, depending. But with so many people,
Yeah,
it might be difficult.
Yeah, your tiebreakers are going to be very relevant. You don't want to lose out early, so.
Yeah, for sure. So we're going to be playing standard. Very popular right now. You've seen it in the MPL every week, and also some other tournaments as well. And it's a great format right now. I really have to say, watching streams of all these players on Twitch just makes it seem like the format is really nice. There's a lot that you can do, and most important, and this is one of the things that I want to see, it's evolving really fast.
Exactly. I happened to catch the MPL yesterday, and there was so much great gameplay going on. The Commander Dreadhorde deck evolving over time, and now being the mid-range deck.
Yeah.
I've seen a few spicy decks yesterday.
Ooh.
Eric Fröhlich coming with Narset's, what's it called, Reversal.
Nice.
That has been a great card for him yesterday, so I'm very excited to see that deck in action.
Yeah.
But of course, Mono Red, who's been on the whole of Standard now for quite some time,
Yeah.
is also going to be a contender.
I mean, I saw the MPL yesterday, and like the first few matches, there was always at least one mono red player.
Yeah.
And it's not surprising, right? Martin Hauser is probably the prime mono red prime mono red player, because he brought mono red to the forefront. Got #1 Mythic on Arena with it, and like popularized it even more. Even though, of course, it was a popular deck before, but now him pushing it to #1, it's the same effect as the standard season before, where Alexander Hayne got Mythic #1 with mono blue, and then suddenly everyone started playing, and it was a really successful deck. But Sad Manfield played the deck. Paulo Vitor Damoderosa played the mono red. The deck's, I think, very well positioned right now. I really like the mix of Experimental Frenzy and Chandra on the top end, because it really can enable you to go over a lot of different decks, and just gives you that staying power that even if you don't win early, you can definitely win late. And your sideboard just offers you so many options. Like I really like seeing Tybalt being a standard playable card.
Finally.
Yeah, the 2-mana one didn't succeed, but the 3-mana one is actually quite good, because it prevents the life gain and gives you some creatures that can be actually quite annoying. And as well, you have War Boss, you have Lava Coils, you have Rekindling Phoenixes, you have more Chandras or Frenzy if you want them. So the deck has a lot of options in the sideboard to really go over the top.
Yeah, exactly. It's exactly like you mentioned. The mono red of the past always has been like, I'm stabilized, I'm at 6 life, I have a creature that can block, I'm safe. These days, you mentioned Frenzy, Chandra.
Yeah.
The mono red can go the long game. So
yeah, as we're setting up for round 1 feature matches, the player meeting is going on right now, but we're going to have feature match soon. So we're going to keep talking about the metagame, because there's one kind of archetype that has gotten really popular last week, and has been very popular at the start, but I already kind of see the little waning, and it's like the Super Friends list.
yeah.
Because there's a different one, right? It started off as the blue-white version that first got people noticing, okay, these Planeswalkers actually look pretty decent. Like, okay, Fubblethub and Mox Amber, okay, I know what's happening there. From then on came the Jeskai version, which also won the Star City Games tournament last week. which looks very solid. And,
Yeah,
and
Sharkin has been huge.
Sarkis has been very, very popular. That card has been performing very well for a lot of people, and also, but deafening Clarion in that particular list was really helpful in like managing the red decks, but also I think pushing out the mono white and white blue decks towards the fringes of the metagame, whereas it was quite popular at the start, and it does decently well against the Planeswalker decks. I would say decently well, not too great, but it's still okay. And also the popularity of mono red pushed mono white out, and then came like in a way like the response to Jeskai Super Friends, Esper Super Friends. So very similar stuff. The one big difference from that was that you get the Vrats and Kazrat, of course, but you get Elder Spell.
Yeah, which
is
huge.
Yeah, right now it's the main way to win the mirror match. Is it's good against the Dreadhorde decks. It's good against the Jeskai Super Friends deck. It's just a solid card.
It's for 2 mana. I've seen so many people like play the Planeswalker and then go like, how many do you have? Well, let's ultimate that right away.
Yeah, exactly.
It's an amazing spell, exactly like Wizards of the Coast designed it, I think.
Yeah, it's very on flavor. Yeah, it's very on flavor with how it turned out with the War Sparked lore, of course. So that I'm very excited about. But also we're still not done. We've already mentioned so many decks, but there's more. One that I have a particular liking for that I want to see how it does this weekend is actually Phoenix. So Blue Red Phoenix.
Yeah.
Because we've seen in the previous format it was more about the Drakes deck. So we played Enigma Drakes, Crackling Drakes, and not much of the Phoenix. But now I think the Phoenix has really gotten much better because of the presence of these Planeswalkers.
Haste is so relevant right now.
Haste and flying, so you get over a lot of what's on the ground. You get to hit those Planeswalkers really fast. And the deck actually seems quite good, especially with the now Finale of Promise being added to the deck, making it much easier in the late game to get those Phoenixes back and start attacking for a lot more. I actually watched Darkest Mage Michael Jacob yesterday during the Magic Qualifier weekend, and actually the deck seems very difficult to play, but when you pull it off, actually does some really cool things, and especially against the Planeswalker decks. I mean, you can really pressure them very hard with a combination of cards as well, especially another addition to the main deck, Saheeli.
That has been great. The kind of bigger Pyromancer. One thing I want to mention with the final you mentioned is Little Teferi.
True.
Kind of being a problem here because you can't cast the cards.
Yeah,
choose. That's kind of annoying.
Yeah,
Happened to me. I have to mention it a few times on Arena. So,
I mean, it is annoying, but that's why the deck also plays the Phoenixes, the Electromancer, so you can actually at least pressure the Teferi somehow. But I understand that it's actually quite complicated. All right, we already have some players and we have some deck lists. So you take one, I'll take the other one.
All right, let's see who has the more spicy list.
You tell me, how spicy is yours? Mine's quite spicy.
It's featuring Ugin, a few Planeswalkers, and main deck Elder Spells.
Nice. Okay. I don't have main deck Elder Spells. I do have actually. It's the deck list of Michael Kundegraber, and I actually heard of him a little bit because he actually finished in the top 16 of a Pro Tour.
Yeah, he's been quite successful as of late.
Yes, doing really well, but obviously it seems like he's not qualified for Barcelona. That's why he's here.
Apparently not. We'll see if he manages today.
Yeah, I think I should close the door so that they don't really hear us when we discuss their decks.
Exactly, we're as close to the action as it gets. Probably Patrick will close the door for us. So
yeah, he's just trying to figure things out. So before we get into too much details, because we try to isolate the room as much as we can, but this is going to help it even further, I hope. All right, so I got a spicy one. I really do. Now that the door is closed, I can go full on. I have actually commanded Dreadhorde in my hands, and it looks like a 4-color version because but I have an unmoored ego in the main deck.
In the main deck.
In the main deck.
Wow,
yes. So
that's gonna be spicy.
So that's quite one more in the sideboard. So, but it's the typical list that we've seen. I mean, nothing. There's some Massacre Girls in the main deck that have been going in and out a little bit in these decks, but otherwise a standard 4-color list of Commander Dreadhorde. What do you have?
My deck list here is more of a Grixis mid-range Planeswalker deck. He has 4 Nicol Bolas, Dragon Gods main bot, 2 Liliana Dreadhorde General, 2 Ugin, and as I mentioned, of course, the Elder Spells. So maybe we're gonna see an early ultimate there. Of course, 4 Nicol Bolas, the Ravager. So the full 8 enemies, let's say, of the Gatewatch. We have quite a few Planeswalker removal with Bedevil, 4 Bedevils.
Nice, 4.
4 main deck, yeah, so he's anticipating a lot of Planeswalkers as well.
Which is fair enough.
Fair, playing a lot himself. 2 Ritual of Sooth as mass removal, and of course 4 Thought Erasures, Search for Scanter.
Yeah.
The rest is quite standard, I think. Also Cry of the Canarium.
Yeah, sounds exciting. I've like these Grixis lists for me have been kind of like, they sound good on in theory, but then you play them, you encounter like many like small issues, like I don't know, Tamio, her static ability is kind of like
it's annoying.
Yeah, it's annoying, especially like it basically pushed out a lot of these lists to not play Anger's Rampage because suddenly it just becomes so much worse. It also makes Nicol Bolas, the Ravager, much worse.
Suddenly it's just a 4/4 for 4.
Which is fine.
It's okay, but
it's not great. All right, and
he's no giant red anymore. He's just a giant Gnarl Mass.
All right, we're gonna figure out so we want to show you the game as soon as we can. Let's see.
Patrick is setting up. The camera is off screen now. We're team of 3. Right.
Okay, but who is who?
I'm pretty sure that I have Gawron on my side.
Right. So we're gonna edit the overlay.
Yeah, we're just gonna enter the names here. The reason we're featuring him around 1 is because he won both our FNM on Friday, and yesterday we had Planeswalker weekend, including top 8, and he won that as well. So I'm excited to see him on camera now.
Yeah, so
I'm gonna put in Grixis here, and we have Michael Kundegraber, and he of
don't
course
forget to
is
save, just so that we can get it on the overlay, I think. Right?
Save here.
Yeah, there we go. And you have to edit.
Yeah, we have to edit the X's now.
This is not a Pro Tour level stream. Full disclosure, right? We don't have 5 people in the background typing everything in.
We have the Pro Tour level commentary here with Matej.
I mean, I'm semi-retired from coverage since they took it away from GP. So that's what happens. But that's fine. All right. So we have the players. We're gonna wait for our signal. So, yeah, 4-color Dreadhorde.
Let's put it in here. 4-color Dreadhorde.
Right.
Save.
Yeah, and we have there's going to be someone we're starting right away, perfect. So no more, I love Magic, and I love paper Magic as well. Despite all the shuffling and everything, this is the bread and butter, and we get to see some awesome Magic. So Godless Shrine into Woodland Cemetery, into Merfolk Branch.
And there it is.
Commander Dreadhorde right off the top, revealing his plan, and actually keeping it. So to me, this is already saying that Michael probably has enough lands in his hand, and he's probably going to try to set up with his Planeswalkers for the following turn. A good start for Cyprian as well.
Search for Scanter.
Yeah, search for Scanter. So he is certainly not mono red. He's going to be on Grixis.
Change that here.
There we go.
There we go.
Ooh.
And already Teferi. And this is so brutal. I've mentioned it to so many people right now. This is why Control, I think, is not that good positioned right now, because if you go turn 2 search for Scanter, the enemy follows up with Teferi, and all of a sudden you're empty boarded and your counter spells do nothing. And I think this is also the reason why counter spells are on the decline right now.
Absolutely. And there's the search again, but this is just such a huge tempo advantage already for Michael Kundegraber. Playing the Teferi and being able to bounce the enchantment is just so huge. And now this is why counter spells are not good, because with the Teferi in play, there's nothing that can be done. And I suspect if Michael plays a big Planeswalker right now.
Let's see if it's Tamio, right? That would be
Tamio
awesome.
would be good, yeah. He also has Vraska Golgari Queen in his list.
That would be quite the punch as well. First bounce it, then destroy it, but there it is. Tamio gain a life as well.
Yeah, Interplanar Beacon doing work. Very small effect, but it's very good against mono red,
especially against mono red.
If you have 2, it's like really, really nice.
Also the synergy to gain life, and then you can cast a bigger Dreadhorde.
So I wonder what he's going to go for. We don't quite, of course, know what he's going to name him, but if he hits, we'll find out. Bond of Flourishing, I don't think he named, and there's just the 3 lands, so he's going to put those away. I'm sure he did not name any of those cards. I think he plays 3 Bond of Flourishing.
He actually plays 3, okay, because I was going to ask you what's your take on the card, because a lot of MPL players are currently playing 1, and it seems like kind of off. I mean, it's good against mono red, of course.
Exactly. That's probably a good reason why you should play. Oh, look, they reset the life totals. No, but they know exactly what it's like, and of course Cyprian is also writing it down. So fortunately, we're not gonna have any mistakes with the life total. So yeah, actually, I kind of like it in a mono red sort of metagame. I especially like it if your sideboard has cards that you want to dig into against mono red. So I kind of like something like Thrashing Brontodon when you bring that in. I like having more bonds because it does go on curve and it allows you to catch up while buffering your life total. And of course, it does find some of the big creatures as well.
Yeah, we've seen last season Revitalize has been huge against mono red, which also kind of feel like, there it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just what we talked about. Nicol Bolas against Tamiyo. I mean, I chose the topic on purpose when we talk about Grixis because it's just so common, and yeah, it's just
there it is.
Like doesn't do anything here.
You don't get an immediate reminder like on Arena when the card is blinking red. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that, especially with Narset. It was my
like,
favorite.
Nope. Yeah. There's the stop sign. So another activation of Tamiyo.
Let's see, it's probably more likely to hit some spells here. The Raska I mentioned,
Walker, and another Tamiyo.
Yeah, looks like he didn't hit any of those. Maybe like one of the things that is noticeable in his mana base for now that he only has one green mana. Okay, never mind. There's a second.
There
green.
it is.
If you only have one green, there might be some point in looking for maybe another Branch Walker. If off of one green, to try to hit it. There's a Teferi.
This start is brutal.
Yeah, just. This is the perfect curve, right? Turn to a creature, a Teferi to protect it, and then Tamiyo into Teferi onto an empty board. Yeah, Nicol Bolas goes away, and like the advantage is just swinging firmly in favor of Michael, who also still has the commanded Dreadhorde in hand.
Exactly. We know that he has it. Cyprian also knows that he has it because, of course, of the Explore creature earlier. A thing I've only learned yesterday when watching the MPL is that Commander Dreadhorde actually works on the enemy graveyard as well.
Yes.
That was a huge surprise to me because I was like, this card is so busted.
Yeah.
It can't possibly work that way, but it does. And Cyprian putting Liliana in the graveyard right now with Search for Scanter.
Yeah, it doesn't look like he has a fifth line because he has Nicol Bolas, the big one, and he also has, I saw another 5-mana spell in his hand.
Is it another one?
Command the God, enter the God Eternals.
Enter the God Eternals.
So he really wanted a fifth land there. That's why he binned the Liliana there. But we know that he has Nicol Bolas on top, the Ravager, so he might bin that one as well. It looks like he has a Bedevil, but yeah, so many choices. He goes for the Tamiyo. Okay.
Knows about the Commander Dreadhorde, doesn't want Michael to mill himself some more. You mentioned the enter the God Eternals. The mill 4 part in this matchup, kind of a downside, right?
I mean, it's fine in this matchup because with Surge you kind of want to mill yourself anyway. So as long as you can mill yourself, so you can fill up your graveyard to flip the Search for Ascanta, that's a decent plan. But the decent plan is also ticking up your Teferis and drawing some more and more cards. So, I mean, now, especially with the Commanded Dreadhorde, I think Michael at 21, he could easily just take the Liliana, Tamiyo, and
he has a Wildgrowth Walker.
Exactly. So, and it's not even that much life that he would have to pay. He starts off with attack first.
Is there any like mass removal he has to be afraid of at this point?
I think like Elder Spell maybe, but even that. Okay, he just goes for the slow approach. Yeah, so plays Wild Walker, untaps 2 lands with the Teferi, and just passes the turn. So
Search for Scanter trigger.
And do you like the Teferi? Sorry, the Nicol Bolas? Yeah, you don't.
No, he doesn't.
Still wants that land.
This time he gets the discard because Tamiyo's gone, but still, he's searching for the land. 4 cards in the graveyard right now.
Yeah, full hand, full grip for Cyprian, but not much you can do about it. I think he has a Thought Erasure.
Yeah,
but he's actually
now safe to cast.
He's already down to 8, and it's
not even a Commander Dreadhorde yet, and under this much pressure, this is looking very good for Michael.
Yeah, I'm sure Michael still has quite a few cards of his own. Okay, so that's the Thought Erasure.
We'll see.
We'll see what he's working with.
There's the Commander Dreadhorde.
Yep.
And he gets to cast it at instant speed because, of course,
Teferi
is not only repulse.
Must be nice. All right, so there's the Wildgrowth Walker, at least 1 Tamiyo. He also has the Vraska.
Ah, yeah. Already forgot that. Awesome. So he's probably going to get Tamiyo, Vraska, Wildgrowth Walker.
So that's 10, and if he has the Liliana, 16, would put him on 5. Might not want to risk it as much, so he can go for a small one.
I mean, if he's ultra greedy, he can go to 1, get the Nicol Bolas as well. So
sure, not sure if he wants to risk shock or lightning strike, some removal. This Grixis is just not a known quantity in this metagame. So I think one of the main risks is that you just don't. You want to be sure that you're not overextended because there's not one settled Grixis list compared to like a 4-color
Yeah,
Dreadhorde deck.
which is
It's like
pretty
there's only
pretty
few
sad and
cards
stuff,
that you can change.
Exactly, like you mentioned, you don't want to be dying out of nowhere with a lead that's this big. So
Yeah.
looks like he's playing it safe, although he has kind of turned the nickel bolas. Maybe he's going for that.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah. Oh, okay.
he's taking the Liliana as well.
So goes for 14. That's fine. I like this.
Still 7 life to go. So
This is still with Thought Eraser on the stack. Remember, Teferi Time Reveler allows you to play sorceries as instants.
which means with Tamir and play another Thought Erasure is just a look at your hand and then I'll get to scry.
Yep, exactly.
So what are we looking at here? How does Cyprian come back from this? The Ritual of Sooth won't get rid of the nickel bolas, so he probably... okay, never mind.
There it is.
So they're packing it in. A huge command to
Yeah.
Dreadhorde.
That was brutal. I mean, it was a perfect curve. Like on the play, turn 2 Branchwalker, turn 3 Teferi, turn 4 Tamer, turn 5 Big Teferi, and then with
And then-
Dreadhorde still in hand. That was very nice.
This has been like the poster game for Michael right here.
Yeah.
He's going to look to repeat that again. I'm taking a look at the sideboard right now. Cyprian, let's see what he can bring in. He has 2 unmourned egos in the sideboard, so I think he's going to bring those in.
Mm-hmm.
Duress might be an option against that many Planeswalkers, although as we have already seen, Tamio probably going to foil that plan.
Mm-hmm.
3 Legion Warpers
Yeah.
might be an option.
I could see that. Just to pressure the Planeswalkers early.
Yeah.
I think the Warboss is quite good right now, especially as an answer to Teferi. It's quite good because it immediately creates some sort of effect. Even if Teferi bounces it, if it comes back into play, it can kill the Teferi right away.
Exactly.
Especially on the play, it's super important.
You
So
just
I'm pretty sure he's going to bring those in.
yeah, I'm pretty sure he's also going to bring in 2 Rask's Contempt.
Mm-hmm.
Because you not only get rid of a Planeswalker, you get rid of it for good.
Yeah.
There's
that's
no
true.
there's no command to Dreadhorde.
I mean, he
to
has
turn
cards to sideboard out. I mean, he has a card like Bedazzle, which is quite average. Cry of the Carnarium is gonna go out. Enter the God Eternals, I think. He's also going to be sideboard out, as well as Ritual of Sud. So I think he's going to bring in like Duress, the Legion Warboss, and then the Vraska's Contents, and as you mentioned, maybe even the Unmoored Egos.
Yeah,
So
we'll see.
there he has a lot of options. I think on Mikhail's side, it's actually a bit more complicated. He doesn't have that much going on. He can probably bring in Duresses and another Unmoored Ego. Remember, he has one in his main deck, which we were both surprised by. But the rest of his sideboard, I don't think it's anything. Maybe Assassin's Trophy is like kind of universal answer
Yeah.
to anything. But
He
it's
can
also
catch
not
the
great.
Planeswalkers, he can catch Bolas, he can also catch the flipped Search for Scanter, so
True.
maybe he thinks about that.
Yeah, it looked Search for a Scanter really looked a little underwhelming here.
Yeah,
Especially
it's
in
not been
face of
great.
Teferi, and I mean it's a fine card, but just didn't bring the goods.
It's
just
just
yet.
so brutal if your first 2 turns play a 2-mana card that doesn't do anything right away,
Mm-hmm.
and then play it again
Yeah.
while your opponent is developing his board.
All right, so we'll see. Both players looked like they finished sideboarding that, which is good because I hate it when players sideboard too long. We're still gonna get the shuffling. This is not arena, but it's still fine. It's fine as it looks. So yeah, for those of you just joining us, we're in Vienna, Austria, lovely city. I love coming here, and we're watching the Mythic Championship qualifier here, and it's full house here. I think the limit was 226 players.
226 players, we actually sold out, and we got a waiting list, so
Wow.
we would have been able to fit more people in, but unfortunately,
Yeah.
226 is where we're at.
Yeah.
So, you mentioned Vienna, lovely city. Finally, summer's coming.
Yeah. I
It's
mean,
been a
hopefully.
Yeah. Don't wanna mention it too early, and then the rain comes back. But today, lovely weather, and we'll see how long all of these people are gonna stick it out. Of course, we already said it, 8 rounds,
8 rounds,
and
yeah.
then top 8. So you really have to fight for that slot.
Yeah, 8 rounds is very rough, and there's some good players in this room. I mean, Michael, of course, is someone who has a Pro Tour experience with this top 16 and a good result on this boot. But I saw some Pro Tour top 8s in this room. Past
Really?
one. Yeah, Arnold Zidek is here. He has won. I think Helmut Summersberger and David
Of
Reitbauer,
course.
the Austrians, the locals. Also Thomas Holzinger, he also has won. So I think around like we can work ourselves up to maybe 10 if you count mine as well.
I just want to mention, yeah, we have a finalist here.
Yeah, I have two. So yeah, just throwing it out there. All pure luck. No, mostly luck. Anyway, But I'm not playing today, so I took the time off to do coverage because I really enjoy it, and I haven't been able to as much as I hoped. There's also one secret project that I'm sure a lot of Magic players are going to enjoy coming up that I actually refuse to do coverage on.
All right.
So that's a teaser and a half. So
I'm excited now.
Yeah, you'll see. Yeah. So, but yeah, this is looking great, and I mean the quality is nice. The players here are good, and we're gonna have a worthy winner in the end.
Hopefully, but I'm pretty sure we're gonna have one. What's your pick right now? Round one.
Like a deck?
Which deck is gonna win it?
I suspect Mono Red is going to do really well. Maybe it's not going to win, but I think it's going to place at least 2 or 3 people in the top 8. I think it's just an overall very solid deck, and I saw some good players actually choosing to run it, which I think is a good sign of the strength. And as we talked about at the start of the day with the MPL, a lot of people chose Mono Red, and for a reason. I mean, it's still a very strong deck, especially when people kind of dawdle around with like Planeswalkers are not doing anything.
Exactly. Water's Box brings so many Planeswalkers in, but good old Fanatic Firebrand still getting in for the damage. So
I'm not a huge fan of the Firebrand. I'll be honest. Just
the monkey.
I mean, it's cool. I like it, and if you're ever looking for a monkey fan, it's me. Whenever we did coverage during the Amonkhet era, Ragavan, whenever Ragavan came into play, I was just
super excited.
Yeah, really excited because that card just was just great. Kari Zev and her monkey, but yeah, I mean, Fanatic Fiber. I know it's very good early on to pressure, and it does a lot of things, but I'm not the biggest fan. But I'm a fan of Nicol Bolas.
Let's see. I think I've
Mulligan,
saw.
Mulligan on the left side.
Yeah, and I think I've seen of the rest, so I think Cyprian brought it in.
Nice. So Woodland Cemetery and Steam Ends on the left side. Let's see if there are some more lands. Okay, Dragon's Skull Summit, and we're going to see the duress on Cyprian's side, and we're going to find out what is going on for Michael Kundegraber. It's a big hand. All right, Tamio, Teferi, Wonderflashing, Elder Spell.
And as we mentioned,
there's the
Assassin's Trophy.
And Interplanar Beacon. He's double Interplanar Beacon, so he won't have problems casting his Planeswalkers, but he might have a bit of trouble casting his other spells.
Cyprian gonna have a lot of trouble. He only has like 3 cards left in hand, and I think 2 of them are Nicol Bolas.
Yikes.
And this is one of the beauties of playing cardboards and not online. 7th edition foil duress.
Yeah.
That's a beauty right there. He's gonna take the Tamio. Of course, he can do that right now with Tamio not on the battlefield.
Yeah, it's kind of like, when I joke about this, but it's kind of like, oh, I lost the discard last game, I have to discard that one. Even if it's not always maybe the best choice in the abstract, but at least like he discards it, finds a Merfolk Branchwalker, that finds him another land, so he shouldn't have problems casting his other spells as well now after finding that land. Let's see if
Cyprian found another land as well, I think.
Nice.
He's up to 3 now. Of course, gonna need 2 more to cast his Nicol Bolases. Maybe. Maybe he's gonna need both of them. We'll see. Michael draws. Can't see, but yeah.
Nothing
under
going on
pressure
for now.
again.
Yeah. I mean, we're probably gonna see the Teferi now.
A lot slower start from Cyprian. At least he has no search for his Cantor. Is Michael? No.
Alright, so make some colored mana here. Maybe he wants to put up the pressure with the Harpooner.
Harpooner, yeah. I was just gonna mention it.
It's actually, I like Harpooner right now. It's pretty decent against Thief of Sanity, even though I think that Cyprian is not playing any of them. He's more of like a Grixis, Super Friends control-ish deck, yeah. More like a tap out Grixis control deck.
Exactly. He's also playing 2 Narset, so that's also been a huge card, I think, and the reason of the decline of Chemist's Insight.
Yes.
We've not seen a lot of that card lately.
Yeah, I really like how blue, like the Simic Nexus deck, how he has evolved completely, like changed now. No Wilderness Reclamations, and like adding mana creatures and starting to play Nissa, which is, I mean, Nissa's great right now. But
it's an amazing card. Yeah. I undervalued it so much. I was like, Green Planeswalker, 3/3s, what's that gonna do? But it's been huge so far. And we're seeing Teferi here, and actually gain 2 life.
Yeah, gain 2 life,
that.
draw a card, just goes for the minus without bouncing anything. Doesn't have to, it does say up to. So just checking along. And I like the fact that Michal decided to put on pressure because he knows that Cyprian actually mulliganed out 6 and expended 1 card in duress just to get a card out of his hand. So putting on the pressure is quite good against something like the Nicol Bolas Dragon God, because even if it comes down and it kills one of the creatures, the other ones can finish it. So I think this line of play I really like from Michal. He knows what's going on, even though he might not have played against such a Grixis deck as Cyprian is bringing.
Yeah, and we see Cyprian, as you mentioned, the Dragon God can come down now, but it's not an easy slam dunk decision what to take here, as the Dragon God is probably gonna go down in the backswing, so it's taking a long time to think. What would you take here? I mean, the Teferi is annoying, but probably the least of his worries right now.
Well, he has a backup one, so that might help him for decisions. Goes for the plus.
For the plus,
okay,
actually.
I
He's
mean
looking for the card advantage here.
Yeah.
To catch up.
I mean, and also like kind of like run interference for his life total in a way, kind of like distract Michal with the Nicol Bolas so that he spends a turn attacking the Nicol Bolas or attacking phase, because like chunks of 5 are actually quite significant, and Cyprian doesn't have any way basically to gain life or anything like that. So. He has to be very careful about how he handles his life total.
Yeah, I don't think he brought in the moment of graving, so no life gain there in his deck.
That's why I could actually see Michal going for even the Elder Spell, just putting counters on Teferi just to keep attacking. But he goes for the attack. I mean, it's very tempting when you have 2 5-power attackers, and your opponent has 5 loyalty. Yeah, and also we did not know that he has a Jade Light Ranger. All right, so draws Woodland Cemetery of 1. And then he does have Assassin's Trophy on top. He's going to keep it. Not surprised.
That spells trouble for Cyprian.
Yeah.
Another 5-mana Planeswalker tap out.
And
enemy SD.
More pressure on the board. Suddenly it's a 2-turn swing with the Jade Light Ranger. And plus he knows about the Elder Spell. He knows about, I think, 1 more card in Cyprian's hand. In Michal's hand, so.
Yeah, and with Teferi up, it's now all of a sudden an instant.
Right, so 3 mana. It's going to be something different for a change. Narset maybe?
Narset, yeah. He's looking for an answer here.
Cry the Carnarium would be nice here, but I wouldn't be surprised if he sideboarded them out.
That's
because it's
just
it's quite poor against something like Wildgrove Walker, but I assume that Michal also probably sideboarded those out. I wouldn't be surprised if he did.
Yeah, the life gain is mostly irrelevant in this matchup. A huge command to Dreadhorde on probably 3, maybe 4 cards will seal the deal anyway.
Yeah, so now they're probably explaining what's going on there. I think he found a Ritual of Soot though, but it might be a little too slow.
Yeah, I think it's a Ritual and an Elder Spell, although that probably... Oh, that's actually what he takes.
Interesting. Maybe he has some sort of removal spell, which could force Michal to... Okay, he has Thought Erasure. Okay, fair enough. He's going to be under a lot of pressure here, especially facing the Essential and the Armored Ego.
There's the Armored Ego, yeah.
I don't think it's that great against Cyprian, though.
Yeah, I don't think that either. It's at this point, it's irrelevant, right? Because he's under so much pressure. He can't afford to take that card. The Elder Spell can take out the Narset at instant speed now with the Fairy in play. But I'm not sure if this is his biggest problem. The command to Dreadhorde of that resolves, bringing back Nicol Bolas, a Tameo.
I mean, at this point, I don't think it matters much. I think like Michal is in such great position, no matter which card Cyprian takes here with the Thought Erasure. Especially he's also tapped out. That Narset is just not going to stay on the battlefield for much longer. So yeah, I mean, stuff. I would definitely not discard the Armored Ego. I would I think about the Elder Spell. He goes for
actually, I mean, it's actually an interesting line because Michal could go for the Ritual of Sooth, right?
He actually went for the Assassin Trophy. He changed his mind at the last second. So
because Michal could go for mass removal and take that out of the equation. I mean, interestingly enough, Cyprian didn't choose the Ritual of Sooth, so he has to rely on his Planeswalkers.
And now it goes has to surveil. It looks like a tough decision. I mean, there's a land and Nicol Bolas Dragon God in hand. So
exactly, and the Elder Spell, which Narset found, but no.
I mean, maybe he's thinking about that. He wants to, if he wants to keep a land on top, because I'm not sure if he played a land. He hasn't played a land this turn, so he could play a land and then hope to draw another land and go Nicol Bolas Elder Spell to put counters on Nicol Bolas, but that seems a bit optimistic here. That's gonna, yeah, the Jade Light's gonna attack Narset, and these other ones go to face, I assume. Yep.
So Cyprian down to 8 already, which means Michael
and 8. You're right. Yeah.
Michael now with lethal on the board.
Yeah, exactly lethal. All right, past the turn. No more action from Michael. Only taking up the Teferi up to 3.
Yeah, and Michael with here is still a Stealth spell in hand, right? So even if Cyprian now goes for Nicol Bolas, Michael can follow up with his Elder Spell.
Indeed. Well, I mean, Cyprian can play Nicol Bolas to kill one of the creatures and prolong this a little bit longer, but it's not looking great.
Yeah, no, he's gonna be empty-handed after that.
Yeah.
So
he's already doing the math. I was counting up his black mana because both Nicol Bolas and Elder Spell require just a lot of black, but I think he has plenty. So it looks like he's gonna go for the Nicol Bolas Dragon God. Okay. All right.
Takes out a 3-power creature.
Yeah, it's gonna be the Harpooner, as expected. The question is now if he wants to use the Elder Spell. No, just pass it. That probably doesn't have another land, so we'll see. The Elder Spell on the left is was revealed from the Narset, so that's why he's playing it face up. He's being nice about it. Let's see. Are we gonna see?
Michael is not so nice about it.
Yeah, instant speed Elder Spell there.
Takes care of the Nicol Bolas.
Yeah, wants to put up the pressure. Teferi time level up to 5 counters. I could easily see Michael bouncing his own creature.
Getting another Explorer.
Exactly, or double Explore with the J-Light Ranger. That's definitely something that could be done. Okay, but he goes for the minus, okay, before combat without bouncing anything. So he probably has something to play here.
I think he has another land, so probably command the Dreadhorde. He's thinking quite long about it. Of course, now goes to combat. Cyprian down to 3. I mean, even if you're this far ahead, there's no reason to take a rush and maybe throw away a game you're winning.
Yeah, true. He has plenty of options, right? Yeah, there's a Breeding Pool. Takes 2. What's it gonna be, Mikhail? What did you draw? I mean, he was discarded quite a bit, but it never seemed like a big problem.
3 mana. Does he have
Narset?
Narset?
Yep.
Yeah,
Likely.
looks like it.
Not great against in the face of Elder Spell though, but I don't think Mikhail is that worried about the Elder Spell now. It's just going to be kill the 2 Planeswalkers at best.
He's thinking about
Armored Ego then. That's why he played it untapped. What is he going to take here? Elder Spell?
Protect this Teferi.
Yeah.
I'd probably take Mass Removal though, right? I mean...
Probably. Which one though? Ritual of Soot? He doesn't know the decklist that well, so we'll see soon enough.
Yeah. I mean, he has to figure that Cry of the Canarium is worse against him than Ritual of Soot, so...
Yeah.
It's a close call though.
I wonder what Cyprian is thinking about here. Maybe Mikhail is just, trying to wait to resolve it, just to get a tell,
Exactly.
Try to get his opponent to reveal some extra information.
The good old Cabal Therapy myself. Let's see. I don't think he has announced anything yet. Yeah, he's still thinking about it. As you said, I don't think it's gonna make a big difference here, but...
Oh, okay. Just a concession from Cyprian looks like. Yeah, and there we go. Mikhail Kundegraber wins 2-0. Very convincing fashion. The 4-color Commander Dreadhorde deck at its best.
Yeah, coming out swinging in game 1. I'd almost say perfect draw. And game 2, Cyprian was big on the back foot after Mulligan. Had a duress, but couldn't stop the bleeding from those Explorer creatures. And Kral Harpooner, we discussed turn 3, Mikhail's decision to go for the creature instead of the Planeswalker. I think it paid off for him.
Yeah, very rewarding. I mean, the Harpooner on turn 3 dealt so much damage over the course of the game, and it really forced Cyprian into a very tough position. So, yep. And there we go. And that's us back again. So, hi, I'm Matej. This is Matthias.
Hi.
Yeah, we just saw round one here at the Vienna MCQ. Michael Kundegraber. I wouldn't call him a Pro Tour Mythic Championship veteran, but with some experience.
With some experience,
Yeah.
exactly. Maybe he can up his count one more if he goes undefeated today. We do have 7 more rounds to bring you.
Yeah.
And of course, seven more Swiss rounds and then the top 8. Patrick is handing me 2 more deck lists right now. Looks like we are getting another. All right, we're getting the information. David Reitbauer against Miesbauer David, so 2 Davids.
Okay, now this, if I called the deck on Cyprian's side last round, if I called it the Grixis Super Friends deck, I think I was undervaluing it a little bit here, because I see here now David is actually playing some really interesting stuff. I see Water Graves, Drunk Catacombs, okay, but also Nickel Ball's Dragon God.
I'm looking at the list and I see lands and planeswalkers.
Yes, exactly. It seems like a 4-color, so but without green. So 4-color planeswalkers.
Yes, Kasmina.
Yes,
that's
Kasmina.
awesome.
There's Teferi and there's Nicol Dragon God. So
that's a nice interaction.
So
right
I definitely want to see how this deck performs. It's playing some interesting cards. Also has 4 Furbolthub in the main.
Also 2 Mox Amber.
Yeah, interesting. I mean, when you're playing four of the Furbolthubs, it kind of makes sense, especially if you want to fix your mana for Nicol Bolas, Dragon God. Maybe playing it turn 4.
That would be huge.
It's quite interesting. On the other hand, he's playing Immobilized District.
Of course, why not? I mean, I'm 4-color already.
It's not a great combo with Nicol Bolas, but I mean, he does. Of course, the way this deck works is trying to at least work with 4 interplanar beacons, and one card that I think is quite important in his list is 3 Oath of Kaya. Is like a removal and like trying to dissuade his opponent from attacking his planeswalkers, but
also a few one-offs in the main board. I see at the bottom here an Elder Spell, 1 Tyrant Scorn, and 1 Cry of the Canarium.
Yeah.
So very spicy list. On the other hand, we have the other David Miesbauer. He's playing more of a regular control-ish Esper list, I think.
Okay.
He has 1 Ugin as well, 1 Elder Spell main board, 3 big Teferis, 2 small Teferis, also 1 Oath of Kaya, and yeah, no creatures in the main board.
This list really looks like, he took Esper Control and he saw Esper Super Friends and he's like, Super Friend, that's a little bit too much for me. But this control deck
just
is
make
not
it friends.
Yeah, this control deck is also not looking like, because he's playing like 2 Absorb rather than 4.
Yeah.
That's very common in Esper.
1 Chemist is inside.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was trying to go for. So it's kind of like he did like a mid-range version, somewhere in between. So he has some of those planeswalkers, he has some of those control elements, and he's trying to find his way around that. He's playing, for example, 3 Vraska's Contempt, a card that was like going down and down on people's evaluations because the 3-mana planeswalkers already generated so much value that by the time you Vraska's Contempt them, you've invested so much into that.
Yeah, you spend more mana, they already get an advantage out of it. So
it just wasn't that great. But he went for 3. He's also playing 4 Thought Rages as well. So kind of like I understand what he's doing. We're gonna see how it actually plays out, because I think we were told that David is up 1 up.
Yeah, exactly. David is ahead 1 game. I mean, David Reitbauer is up 1 game because
sorry.
actually
this is really confusing, by the way, because it's Reitbauer and Miesbauer.
So we have 2 Davids, both Bauers, 1 Reit, 1
typical Austrian MCQ, right? I mean, all those similar names. But yeah, I'm just kidding, because there's actually I'm gonna segue into another point that I want to have. That there's a lot of different nationalities here.
Exactly.
Slovaks, Czechs, Hungarians. I assume maybe some Poles even make their way. Serbs, I heard.
Yeah, this is a huge tournament for Austria, for not only Austria but Europe. And we also seen that the last few days at our local game store, there have been so many people from different nations. Nice. It's just a great tournament.
Yeah, I mean,
Magic community coming together. All right. I'm getting the info.
Okay, it's
1-1 run now.
All right, so 1-1 now. So it looks like David Miesbauer has equalized, and we're going to get them to our main table, and as we prepare the overlay and all the names, because this is going to be confusing even for us, right? Because it's just going to be Miesbauer against Reitbauer, and both are Davids.
I'm going to call David Reitbauer's deck 4-color Planeswalkers.
Sure, makes sense. And David Miesbauer is going to be Esper. Let's just go for Esper control. I think probably the most accurate description, even though it's not a traditional Esper control list. It's probably the closest we're going to get in this format.
Let's put the 1/1 in here. Score currently. So we're gonna get to see a game 3. We didn't take a look at the sideboards.
You can already probably look at player shuffling, right? There we go.
So back at the table.
We'll see soon enough who is who. I hope so, because David Reitbauer's lands are going to be much more colorful. he's really just to recap. He has a 4-color deck, but he's trying to cast Nicol Dragon God, which is triple black, and he has the interplanar beacons to help. Even though interplanar beacon gives you 2 different colors of mana, that's but
it can be odd, but
it helps. He also has Mobilize District, which is for me the crazier part.
Yeah, this is just great.
Otherwise, he has like the usual lands. The only white lands I see here are like Hallowed Fountain, and I think he should have some Godless Shrines. Yes, correct. So 3 Godless Shrines. So he has ways to cast his white spells, but mainly I think the only white card that he wants to hard cast is the Oath of Kaya. And Teferi can get help thanks to the interplanar beacon. So and Dovin is easy to cast if you have either white or blue, so it shouldn't be that much of an issue.
I'm taking a look at the sideboard right now because, of course, we are in game 3 here. David Reitbauer, very interesting Yagmoth's Vial offering in the sideboard.
Spicy.
This is the spiciest list.
Yeah, I mean, the other cards are not that exciting. I mean, he has Sorcerer's Spyglass, he has Despark, Duress. On Mordigo, Nicol the Ravagers, I guess, fine.
I've always been a huge fan of Sorcerer's Spyglass, but at this point, if you're playing like 5 different Planeswalkers yourself, you're kind of hindering your game plan if you have to take.
It's also quite difficult, like even though you see their hand, like they have so many, like we saw in the previous round, okay, you stop Teferi, Time Reveler from doing anything, but then there's, Vraski Golgari Queen that can still destroy it, or there's Assassin's Trophy that can still do something about it, or the big Teferi can tuck it away if you really need to. It's really annoying, and I really like Sorcerer's Spyglass as well, but I can just see why it's not being played as much as it used to be.
Yeah, last season, especially against the Esper control deck, you resolved the Sorcerer's Spyglass, named Teferi, of course the big one back then, and the deck usually had no outs, or close to no outs, but those days are over. Little Teferi showing his influence there. I think David Miesbauer is taking a mulligan right now. And
he is, yeah. And it looks like David has kept his hand. I think he still has Godless Shrine, Drown Catacomb, and an Interplanar Beacon, and a couple of Narset.
I think he brought in the Nicol Bolas the Revengers.
He did, yes. He does have one in his hand.
Of course, great at pressuring Planeswalkers.
Yeah, might be a little difficult to cast. I mean,
this mana base and his spells is just amazing. I wonder if he consulted a Frank Carsten article about it.
I mean, Interplanar Beacon does help a lot. And David Miesbauer, mulligan to 6, but he kept the card on top. It looks like it was the Hell Fountain, so he played it right away. Ooh, Mox Amber now for David Reitbauer as well. No turn 2 play, but we'll see if upon turn 3 if he'll resolve Narset or Teferi. First glimpse Thought Erasure, I think. And he's gonna now see the bad news. Narset, Teferi, Time Reveler, Mox Amber, as well as Nicol Bolas Ravager.
Yeah, multiple Narsets at this point is like, could have hit that, but unfortunately there's the backup.
Yeah, and he sees exactly what's going to happen here. If he takes one of the 3-mana Planeswalkers, then it's going to be a turn 3 Planeswalker, and then another turn it's going to be a Nicol Bolas Ravager. Discards it to Fair Time Reveler. This to me kind of signals that he probably has some counter magic in his hand that he wants to keep active for following turns. And Teferi is also quite annoying, but so is Narset.
Maybe a follow-up Planeswalker of his own. That would get bounced, of course, by the Fair Time Reveler. But yeah, of course, Narset very annoying, and David with the Elder Spell.
Yep, and there's Narset, gains 1, and now he's gonna go dig for a non-creature, non-lands card. I mean, his hand looking good. He could use a land though. I mean, he puts 2 on the bottom along with the Thub here. gets the Ugin.
It's good that you're pronouncing the name, because Thub is just it's a tongue breaker for me.
Yeah, I mean, understandable. I don't like the U.S. speakers pretend like they know how to pronounce it, but they always add some E's and A's into it. It's like Fabelthub.
That's not what it's called.
And
Yeah.
I would go just.
It's actually has a different name in German though. I think it's
Really?
it starts with a Z, so
Okay,
I don't know.
makes sense. I mean, like I've learned my fair share of German pronunciation. I really enjoy them usually. So there we have another thought erasure taking the nickel bolas. And I mean, understandable because that Miesbauer would be really put on the back burner here with the Mox Ember now fixing mana enough for the nickel bolas Ravager to actually be relevant.
Exactly. I mean, he's under a lot of pressure from the Planeswalkers now, but those usually prolong the game. But the Ravager hitting for 4 turn can close out the game quite quickly.
Yeah, big activation from Narset here because David actually did draw a land here. So let's see if he finds something else here. Well, Elspell and a Thought Erasure. That's great though. He's gonna see what David Miesbauer is working with here, and also will get to surveil to maybe find the 6th land for the Ugin that he has in his hand.
Yeah, this spells trouble for David Miesbauer.
Now also it looks like David Reitbauer could actually also follow up with another Narset if he wanted to. There's the Thought Erasure, a little bit of glare.
I see an Elder Spell.
Yeah,
Elder Spell is huge here.
Yeah, there's a Thief of Sanity, all right. And there's not much left in David Miesbauer's hand, so...
Yeah, here's one reactive card with the Elder Spell. But as we discussed earlier, Planeswalker coming down, you get an advantage right away.
Yeah.
And David Miesbauer, of course, has no Planeswalker himself, so no 2 counters to put anywhere.
Yeah.
And actually 2 lands,
Yeah.
so...
Now he's going to take 2 from the Water Grave. He's going to play another Narset. Yeah, he's just going to...
Yeah.
Doesn't really matter which one is in play, which one's in the graveyard. He's going to dig for more spells here. The Narset advantage is real. Like once they start going, it's really nice. Ooh, Nickel Bolas, Dragon God, and he has the mana to cast it. He has enough black, and Mox Ember also helping out with the fixing here. And David Miesbauer now going to be in quite a bit of trouble.
Yeah, 2 Planeswalkers and 1 Elder Spell against an Elder Spell.
Yeah.
A lot of sparks being harvested.
And no, the Mox Ember only produces blue mana for now, but he also has Interplanar Beacon, which can give him a black and red, blue and red, any combination which he likes.
And Search for Scanter was the draw. And as we discussed last game, it is a good card, but we can see now it's coming down, no impact right away. He's not close to having 7 cards in his graveyard. It does fix his draw step a little bit, but it's not really what he was looking for.
Yeah, one more Narset activation. It's gonna find Fubblethub and it's a fairy. More trouble for David Miesbauer here. I believe.
And
yeah.
David found another Ugin in
Nickel Bolas
in his draw step.
So let's see. It looks like he's tapping 5. Yeah, so he's gonna get blue there. He's gonna change it into blue and red, and then 3 black from the other 3 lands make it possible to cast Nickel Bolas Dragon God.
Yeah. Short explanation to his opponent.
Yep.
How this very awesome mana base is coming to work.
Yeah, and but now it's really tough spot because David Miesbauer also used this card mulligan as well. He's low on cards. This Nickel Bolas Dragon is going to be rough because he's going to either have to exile cards from his hand that he needs to keep up in the game, or start sacrificing some permanents or exiling some permanents.
Yeah.
It's just not where you want to be.
Maybe this is even where Search for Scanter is coming to an end. Maybe
Yes,
he's gonna get rid of that sooner or later.
Yeah, he's probably keeping it around just maybe to get a chance of dig some more. He does have the Elder Spell in his hand. That's his last card, so that's going to take care of both Planeswalkers. But we know that then David Reitbauer is just going to slam another Nickel Bolas or the Ugin and just going to go to town. He has so many cards in his hand.
Yeah, David Reitbauer at this point with 3 Planeswalkers, 2 Elder Spells.
Ooh,
This
Vona.
is just like the story. Drew it up Vona.
Yeah.
All right. It's pay 7 life, destroy a non-land permanent, I think.
Yep.
And with Vigilance, of course, probably here to take out 2 Planeswalkers, but that's not gonna happen this game.
So there's a land for David. Found the 6th one. I think he might go for an Ugin maybe here. Yep. So goes for the. Oh no, he he boarded in the Commander Dreadhorde. He has 1, and now he's just gonna bring back all that good stuff. He's at 19, so Nickel Bolas, Narset, Teferi. That's pretty good.
He's probably gonna take the
11.
Vona, right? It has lifelink.
Okay, does he have enough for that? He's okay. sounding out his options. I felt this was 19 damage, so I don't think he's going to take all of these here. Might just keep Vona in the graveyard. Command Dreadhorde, nice sideboard card, especially in these long drawn-out matches. Like you won't have the option. And as we saw, it's kind of nice with Teferi Time Reveler.
Still thinking about taking either Narset or Teferi. It's not going to take the Thief of Sanity. Sticks with Teferi.
And just thinking now about...
it's with 13 right
13,
now.
13, yeah.
Swapping out Teferi for Narset.
All right, that works.
Yeah.
I would have liked Teferi there and bounce the search for a Scanta, but maybe he can. Yeah, I would have liked some combination of those. But yeah, Vona is also nice. That's gonna give him some life back if he needed to and pressure. All right, more Narset stuff.
Is there any way David considered any shenanigans Miesbauer could come up with to kill him from 3 life?
Yeah, I'm wondering. Our chat is being very active. It's like if Mox Ember, like the 6th mana, if he had any, he didn't have any legendaries when he activated it, so he shouldn't have gotten the 6 mana from the Mox because the Elder Spell killed both of the Planeswalkers. So he did not catch. So he can't play the Dreadhorde. Yeah, nice catch, chat. Thank you very much. Not sure if we can fix it though.
Maybe
we're gonna send someone there.
Yeah, a lot of stuff has happened.
Well, we'll call a judge. We'll see what happens. And we've sent someone to the match, and yeah. So
game is being on hold right now.
Yeah. So the player we asked both players to stop because we might be able to rewind this. I mean, there was still Narset activation and the Dragon God activation as well. Yeah, he's now trying to explain that. Okay, yeah, that cost 6 mana, and you did not have a legendary because the Elder Spell killed both of them. So you shouldn't have been allowed to play the Commander Dreadhorde. No, you did not have Narset in play.
I think he's explaining right now what happened after the Commander Dreadhorde resolved. See if they can back it up from this point, but a lot of things have happened. Life points have changed.
Yeah.
Cards were put on the bottom of the deck. There was a decision made.
Yeah, well, judges coming into our secret coverage room.
A lot of people standing nearby us finished the round already. Of course, as you can see on the timer, around 7 minutes left, although we have a separate timer for our feature match area. So time in the round is probably going to run out very soon. And of course, we have 7 more rounds to cover here. And of course, the thing we're all waiting for, the top 8.
Yeah, all right. So it looks like we're going to rewind back a little bit here. So we'll see. I mean, we'll let the judge figure it out. But there's the Commander of the Dreadhorde is going to... Yeah, so all those cards are going to go back to their graveyards, I believe. Yeah, now explain. Like, look at that. Mox Ember. That was the 6th mana, but it didn't give any mana because I did not have any legendaries. The Elder Spell destroyed both of them. I think David just forgot, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
He used it once or twice, and it then becomes very easy to just assume that it always produces mana.
I mean, it's a Mox. Wizards should just start printing Moxes that work all the time again, so no suspense stuff or something like that.
Yeah, there's the one, Mox Light, I think it's called in Modern Horizons, with suspend.
Amazing artwork, really great card.
Yeah, really nice.
So looking forward to get it in foil. So
it's a Mox that gives you any color of mana all the time.
All the time. Unfortunately, you can't cast it right away. So
I mean, yeah, technically, you can find some way.
As foretold, maybe.
Yeah. But you wanted to accelerate out as foretold, but you won't because it doesn't work that way. So Danny knows in the chat, update the standings. We actually don't have standings yet because this is round 1. Yeah,
there are no standings yet.
Yeah, and as you see in the top right corner, that's the timer. We're still Runde 1. That's German for round 1. I'm going to start a small German lesson here. I should actually practice because I'm actually starting a new job soon in a week. Yeah,
awesome.
And I'm going to need to use my German there. So
that's great. So
next time. German.
Next time you come here, we'll do German coverage with you.
I think people will prefer English one.
Probably, especially for an event like this.
Yeah. Still resolving this judge call.
Yeah, I think I saw the judge walking past us, so probably gonna take it to the head judge maybe. Get confirmation. Yeah, head judge is gonna be involved in this, because as I said, there has been a lot of stuff going on after the Commander Dreadhorde resolved. Planeswalkers were put into play, a Narset activation happens, life totals changed, so I'm not sure it's gonna be rewindable because of that Narset activation.
Sure. I do want to. I mean, at this point, it's really just still a mistake from David, because he has such a commanding position in the game. He doesn't need the Commander Dreadhorde to
win.
He could have just played the Nicol Bolas and just start churning through that. It happens, and we missed it as well because.
Yep. Thanks to the chat for pointing it out for us.
Yeah, we love our Twitch chat users. Don't hesitate to participate in the chat. We'll be happy to have you. And yeah, so but this deck list from David is really something I haven't seen before. It looks really cool. 4-color Planeswalkers, no green, but lots of blue, lots of black, a lot of black because of Nicol Bolas.
A lot of black, yeah.
And then some white and red. Basically, the only red card is Nicol Bolas Dragon God.
I was just gonna ask if he has any Sharkans main or side, but
it's mostly a blue-black base deck with some white for Teferi and some red for
the Nicol Bolas, right?
He also has the Oath of Kaias, which is white. That's why he has a few more white lands compared to the red lands, because of course the Interplanar Beacon does so much work at enabling the Nicol Bolas. But in his sideboard, yeah, he also has some white cards. Nicol Bolas Ravage as a red card, so his mana base is really something. But if you can make it work with a Mobilize District as well, why not?
He did make it work this game, at least until the little Mox incident. I wanted to ask you about the Vona. How do you think this card is in this matchup? Is it good enough to bring in? Is it here to pressure the Planeswalkers? What's the purpose of this card?
So full disclosure, I really like Vona. Actually, in previous standard seasons, I actually like to put her in my deck, in my sideboard, and just bring her in, especially against a mid-range deck. If you were able to protect her somehow, then like it could do really a lot of work. But also, I think right now, she's just not good. Reason one, Teferi Time Reveler.
I was just gonna say, your 5 mana answer to 3 mana Planeswalkers.
Yeah, it's just very slow. And also, if you're playing it against decks like these, where we saw Ugin, we saw Nicol Bolas, it's just you play 5 and your opponent plays 5, minuses kills it right away without doing anything on the board. And that's actually like not even though kind of like the worst scenario, right? Because like we've seen that these decks can do things such as like if you tap out for a Vona, your opponent can do stuff like we saw Commander Dreadhorde, but they can also do like Elder Spell some of my Planeswalkers to put the counters on Nicol Bolas.
All of a sudden,
ultimate kill you.
Yeah.
You know, and like because you're tapping out for such a negligible effect, it's just not good. It could be okay if you're like heavy into discard and you're trying to keep the board keep the hand clear. But once you play the Vona, that you know that it's going to be able to start cleaning up a little bit. But otherwise, I don't really like it. So now what's happening actually? So I think the judge ruled that 2 random cards are going to get like shuffled back in, I assume. Yeah. So choosing which ones. I think the Dreadhorde and the Nicol Bolas will stay in hand because both players knew about those. They knew about the Nicol Bolas from one of the Narset activations and about the Commander Dreadhorde because he played it. So one of the other cards is going to get maybe shuffled in, and then we're going to see what else is going to happen. I think the judge is just trying to maybe resolve, like wind back one activation at a time.
Yeah, a lot of stuff happened there, so it's not an easy fix. It's not like, okay, put that back into the graveyard or return it to the hand or stuff. Right. A lot of things have to...
Yeah, so
all right, there are 3 cards you put on bottom.
Yeah, so now we're going to go... Nicol Bolas is going to join some cards on the top, I think. This is a really complicated rewind. I'll just let the judge handle it. It's too complicated for me.
So much going on.
Yeah, yeah. As Ripson pointed out, Teferi is like a reflector mage in a way. Of course,
that's a nice analogy.
Your opponent can replay it right away, but then you untap with Teferi in play, and you can do other stuff. You can protect it, potentially to bounce again. Plus, remember, you drew a card.
Yeah, that's so huge.
The repulse is just so important. Plus, it bounces the enchantments artifacts as well. Because This is very, very underrated, but people really shouldn't underestimate it because we've seen from Injeske Super Friends, get some mana from Mox Amber, bounce it, get some replay it again to play something else, bounce Search for a Scantor, bounce Experimental Frenzy, play Thought Erasure to discard it. Like, you can make all these plays.
There's so many plays. As you mentioned, Repulse always has been a good card, and now it gets a Planeswalker as well, so...
Alright, what's happened? Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so it's so as we get the information, so the judge said it's very hard to rewind.
As we all can see here.
Yeah, so the judge actually went back to talk to the head judge about how to handle such situation, because between the draw, the look at 4 cards, what should go on top and bottom is actually very, very complicated. So it's just taking a while. Sorry, our viewers. I apologize for this, but at least it was thanks to you. I mean, you're at fault. You should
exactly.
If you were quiet, we could have already been done. But on the other hand, you'll get to see some more Magic at least.
Exactly.
So I kind of see the positives of. But no, I'm just kidding. Of course, it's always good to catch these sort of situations. It's not a nice thing. I'm sure David's going to get a nice warning for this.
Yeah.
And hopefully he's not going to repeat the same mistake again.
No, I think he'll remember it the next time. He's gonna check for legendaries on his side of the board next time. So cards
are moving again.
Yeah.
3 gonna go on the bottom.
So they probably, I mean, they put the cards back on bottom. This goes back to the hand. So I think they're at the conclusion that this board set is not rewindable. And
yeah, it looks that way.
I mean, you already mentioned it. It wasn't necessary for David to cast a Commander Dreadhorde at this point because he was already so far ahead. So at least we're not going to see a game that's swung by a mistake, but just one that's probably over sooner because of it. Of course, unfortunate for David Miesbauer, this has happened, but...
yeah. What can you do? I mean, we already we're over time in the round, but of course the players were going to get extra time to finish this game, and I think it's basically academical at this point anyway. It's just like David has to go through the motions of actually pressing his advantage. Even if he hadn't played the Commander Dreadhorde, he would have been able to play Nickelball, start plussing him, and just milk the David Miesbauer's hand and board. So
yeah, so the game probably takes like what 3 to 4 turns longer because he now has a creature that can finish the game faster, but. It was over at that point anyway. We don't have an advantage bar here, but it would be in David's favor quite a bit.
All right, so we're going to get some extra time here. 6 minutes looks like. And a few seconds. Okay, 6.5 minutes. And there we go. So timer's running again, and players have returned the game. Hurrah! Everyone's happy.
We're gonna see some more Magic. David Miesbauer found Teferi.
It's gonna bounce his own Vona now, it looks like.
Probably that's the best way to generate advantage
here.
He
can't draw a card though. Don't draw a card, don't draw a card, don't draw a card.
No.
No,
Narset.
No.
Narset.
No.
We're gonna need a judge on that as well because he drew a card of Teferi, although he has Narset in play. He bounced the card and he has Narset. He can't draw an extra card.
Yeah, so we're going to send someone back again. Guys, these static abilities might be unrewindable at this point, but... okay, Elder Spell. Yeah, now, okay. It's like, oh, you drew an extra... I think he actually also drew the Search for a Scanta, which is annoying. But now maybe David Reitbauer was like, it doesn't matter, I'm just going to kill him. Yeah, and that's exactly what he's saying. Like, I'm just going to Elder Spell the Narset and the Teferi on the other side, minus Nickel Bowl, and because I still have the Teferi of my own, I'm going to win game. Doesn't matter. Let's just get this over with.
Yeah.
and he did. So David Reitbauer wins a 2-1. Yeah, we explained everything. So yeah, it's done. It didn't matter at all. So there we go. Back to our studio. Look at our nice background. It's really, really cute. It's the Planeswalker design from War of the Spark, if I'm not mistaken.
Exactly. I've been a huge fan of it. A lot of people have questioned the kind of different design, but I've been a huge fan.
Yeah, it's really nice. I mean, with all these arts, like all these Planeswalkers, right? We have the stained glass ones.
Yeah,
We have
these have
the
been beautiful
Japanese anime ones. We have this one. Of course, these are not on the cards, but the art kind of came out of nowhere and looks really nice. And we have the original art. So
it's kind of a shame this is not on a card, though. Maybe for future promo cards or something like that, they'd consider that.
There's already so many versions of these Planeswalkers that I don't think they will. I mean, one of the stories I heard might make someone chuckle is that I heard the Japanese players that already call the Japanese alternate art version the correct version.
Really?
That should be that's the original, and that the
And we have the alternate artwork.
Exactly. Yeah, we have the bad alternate artwork that they're working with the original ones. Yeah.
Of course, the glass stained artwork is available in Arena, if I'm not mistaken.
It is. It's very confusing.
Yeah.
So many arts and like all these cosmetic upgrades that you get on the other cards. It's just like everything moving,
Yeah,
shining.
some of them are like with animations. Then you now have sleeves.
Yeah.
All kind of fancy. But we're here today. Good old cardboard.
Yeah, exactly. And still alternate art, but lots of good cardboard. And more rounds to come. We have 8 rounds total, just 1 in the book, so 7 more rounds. Everything's done. I assume we're just waiting on the last people to finish and for pairings to go up. And then we're going to show you some more magic. Hopefully, you'll stay with us for us throughout the day and get to have some fun, participate in chat, make fun of us, or make fun of the players for not knowing how their cards work. I can be a little more loose than on a Wizards of the Coast stream, so
That's great.
I'm going to be a little meaner to the players.
I think that's okay. The viewers will enjoy it as well. I will confirm with Patrick that the round is finished and we're gonna get pairings soon. All right, so stay tuned a little bit longer.
Yeah.
We will have round 2 out of 8 plus top 8 for you coming soon. Of course, later in the day, Patrick will join me and Matej in the booth. Just gonna grab. That's a good point. Stay hydrated. We're gonna throw in a short break, and we'll join you guys again soon for round 2. So stay tuned.
Be back soon.